The 9001 Podcast.
Do you really believe your own hype that much? I am the hype!
Hey everyone, welcome to the 9001 Podcast. Today is February 8th, 2015. My name is Wilson, and I'm joined today by Randall.
What's going on, everybody?
And Lane.
Hello.
Alright, let's do this. So, in case you haven't heard, Monty has passed away.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a pretty sad day. I mean,
Seriously.
it's affected a lot. I mean, obviously, none of us are close family to him or anything, and I'm not like the biggest Rooster Teeth fan either, but, I can see the emotional impact on a lot of people. Even, I went to F&M this week and I saw like 2 people wearing, their anime shirt.
The Ruby shirt.
Yeah, the Ruby shirt, and, I was like, man, dude, I was like, that's pretty insane, such a, even there, like, which is like a very small demographic of people, it's shown, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did they say a severe allergic reaction is what actually took his life during like a surgery procedure? But I don't think they said, ever what it was that put him in the hospital in the first place. So I'm still curious about that. I wouldn't.
It said that it was something minor. I don't know what that's about. So that could be anything. Maybe it was something personal that they didn't want to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
But
It sounds a little, like, not totally clear, and I'm sure Tooth wants to respect, him and his family's privacy, but
definitely.
apparently what we do know is that he suffered a severe allergic reaction during some sort of procedure, and that left him in a coma.
Oh, yeah,
And
there you go.
they decided to release the details that he's been hospitalized after he had been in a coma for a few days. I guess, kind of thinking about the outlook. So, anyway, I know a lot of people were affected by all the crazy stuff that he was a part of.
Yeah, and I live away from you two guys now, and I have, a group of friends here, and when I met them, and still mostly to this day, it's not as big a deal as it was, but when I met them, 3 out of like the 5 or 6 people in this group that I'm in were serious Rooster Teeth fans, and I'm talking the kind of people that are like subscribed to their services and watch almost every single one of their videos. And I mean, a couple of those guys have moved on because they had to, get real jobs and stuff like that. But the kind of impact it had on them is, interesting because it's more of like a disbelief sort of thing. You don't expect something like this to happen. So, yeah, really depressing overall.
Yeah, Monty was 33 years old.
Yeah, he'll be missed. Then they did a really nice little letter in his honor. The whole, for honoring him, don't send us flowers or anything like that. Do something creative because, he was a creative person. So that's really nice.
that sounds about the best way to, a little homage to him, so.
Yep.
So, moving into the rapid fire section of our show, this is a part of the show where we talk about what we're playing this week in a minute or less. And I guess I'll be the timekeeper this week, and I bet we may even be able to get it done in a minute.
Can we just knock
total.
it down to 30 seconds?
Oh,
Maybe 30 seconds.
Oh,
Let's knock it down to 30 seconds. Okay.
So 30 seconds each, right? I mean,
Yeah,
30 seconds
each.
total.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Dang, dude, that would be a fucking speed run,
Okay,
dude.
if you want to, we can do 20 seconds apiece.
Let's do 30, dude.
Let's do 30.
We gotta work our way up the ladder. Dude, we gotta,
All right, 5
we
seconds.
gotta crawl
4.
before you can walk, kind of thing.
Yeah, 3. I can't even do this,
I
but
got
we are
it.
going to
All
start
3,
starting now.
2, okay.
So I'm playing League of Legends this week. I've been watching the the LTS mostly for my fantasy team, but I'm like been watching the side. I'm like, I need to start playing some League, so why not play some ARAM? ARAM's a great time to just unwind, play a little bit after if you've been working or whatever. It's not so competitive, and you can still get your mechanical League action in.
All right. And
Nice.
you were 6
Pass it to
seconds
me.
under the time. All right. Yeah, go, Randall.
Alright, I've been playing, I played Magic this weekend. I went to our local F&M, which is Friday Night Magic. If you don't know what Magic is, it's just it's a card game, Magic the Gathering. I'm sure most of you that listen to this, podcast do. I got to play a cool deck called Junfine, a lot of graveyard interaction. I had a lot of fun, mostly wrecked people. Lost, my last match unfortunately, but it was a good time.
I kind of wish I was into a card game.
Yeah, dude,
Anyway.
get into Magic.
Oh, God, no. Okay, I'll take mine. I have also been playing League of Legends, but I've been playing a different aspect than Wilson over here. I've been playing mostly ranked, the sadness fest that is ranked, and I've been trying to climb up the ladder a little bit, been losing a lot, and just trying to climb at all. It's very difficult, and things are very in flux right now, so I'm trying very desperately to not get completely demoralized sometimes, as anybody who plays it knows. But it's a pretty good time.
I think you're
What's the goal for this season, Lane?
The goal for this season is Diamond.
Diamond.
Yeah,
there it
I've
is.
climbed.
Time.
Oh god. Well, as a side note, I've climbed one league. Yeah, one league every time. I was in silver my first time, gold the next, platinum last season, so I gotta get diamond this season.
Cool, and you can carry me. What I do every season is I land in silver, I dip into bronze, and then I come back out. So maybe you can pull me a little higher this season.
Yeah, right. Okay, sure. Let me get on that.
Anyway, besides Lane carrying me, our Ice Climber topic this week is a little bit about Bloodborne. This is a game that Randall's extremely looking forward to. I'm interested as well, and we'll be doing some coverage for this game just because we're interested. But the first 18 minutes are out on IGN. Randall, is that correct?
Yeah, we have the first 18 minutes of gameplay out. It kind of goes through the opening sequence, gives you a little bit of the setting of the world, shows you what the gameplay is going to be like, what kind of interface you're going to be working with, all that kind of stuff. Looks really good. The first boss is definitely very nostalgic as far as kind of these Dark Souls games go. If you play the games, you'll know what I mean when you watch the video. And yeah, it's looking pretty sick.
Pretty reminiscent of some old Souls good stuff.
Yeah, and it's definitely got its own new tinge, obviously. I mean, it's reskinned, right? It's a whole new setting.
And it's a little more character driven, right? Like in terms of the main character.
I think so. I think the character's going to have a little more development than in past series, because in past series it was less about the character and more about overcoming hard challenges.
Right. It's the world against you, where the world is kind of the character that gets iterated on and you learn more about.
Exactly.
It's interesting how you can tell a Souls game just by its animation, lighting, and graphics. It's really telling.
I mean, it's really.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm watching just a little snippet of it right now because I haven't actually gotten the chance to watch this. And by the way, IGN is actually doing their IGN first for this month is Bloodborne. So they're going to be having a lot more stuff over there. So you should check that out if you're interested. Anyway, it's just interesting. I'm watching little snippets of this, and it seriously looks so much like Dark Souls animation-wise. It's very, very reminiscent. The UI looks a lot cleaner, though. I like it.
They have a style that's very comfortable for their taste, and it's something that people who play the games will be very used to, and it's just easy to come back into if you played them too.
Yes, I really like his blade.
Oh, isn't it sick? Yeah.
It is awesome.
So playing devil's advocate here, I wonder how do y'all feel about the way that games are going, that you can find the first 18 minutes of a game that hasn't been released yet out actually on a website, and that's part of the journalism. Versus back, I don't know, just imagining whenever I picked up Pikmin for the first time,
I don't know.
Not as much details about that game were out.
For me, you, me, and Lane, we've been around games for a long time, and I think we're all reasonably good at just, picking out what devs are going to make good games and which games of those devs are going to be good. If that makes sense. So sometimes these things aren't as important to people like you and I. But, when you see something like this released, I often think about what kind of studio released it. And, I think that's what it comes down to. When you have a studio that's, the studio that makes Dark Souls, I don't know, they don't have they're not pulling in money like a lot of other studios are, I guess. They have tons of money, obviously, but it's not like Blizzard or Bethesda or anything like that.
It's a smaller audience, right?
Smaller audience, right? So, when they release their stuff, they're really just trying to show people that they have a game worth playing. While when you have people that show first gameplay of a Blizzard game or something, it's less about, showing that it's a good game, it's just publicity. And I don't think that it necessarily adds anything to the game, and sometimes it, hypes it to the point that, it gets overwhelmed, by its mediocrity, I guess.
That's actually a good point, how, hype works around games depending on the publisher's, actual standing within the world. And we're lucky we have someone like Blizzard who has a ton of money and gives a crap about their future games.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if they didn't care anymore, they could just take the money and run at this point. They could pull a really botched version of EA or something like that. Not saying EA's done that. Or Ubisoft or something like that. Because, I mean, Ubisoft would be the best example of a company that has a ton of money and really seems to not care right now.
Oh,
too much
yeah, dude,
about their bottom line.
I'm almost surprised people still support their products, honestly.
Yeah, it's
Like,
because they have
be honest.
such, like, they have like a game with a lot of prestige.
They own like a lot of titles, you know?
Yes.
And they can just keep making those titles, and since they own them, no one else can make them, and people just keep having to play those same games.
Exactly. I feel like we should probably talk about this at some point.
Yeah, because it could go forever. Yeah.
And yeah, we
Definitely
could go forever on that.
So the release of the week this week is actually a company and not a game. Usually we're going to cover a game for the release of the week, but SOE, Sony Online, Entertainment, gosh, closes and Daybreak Game Company emerges. So, Lane, I feel like you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, out of all of us, I feel like I'm probably the most closely attached with SOE because I played a lot of PlanetSide. I mean, I'm not as closely attached as some other people out there are who have played their entire freaking library. But I played quite a bit of PlanetSide, PlanetSide 2 specifically, you know, about a year ago, I'd say, is when I played it the most, enough to make, you know, in-game purchases and stuff like that. I actually really enjoyed the game. I think I tried to get you into it at one time, Wilson. Didn't you play it a little bit at one time?
Oh yeah, I played.
Yeah.
I played with you too, remember?
Oh, you did, Randall?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
We tried to get like some vehicle for like the longest time, I remember.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. Anyway, this is a bit worrying, and I think most PlanetSide fans would take this almost a little bit as a telltale thing, because it seems as SOE has been taking its resources away from PlanetSide and going towards H1Z1 and other stuff. And from my perspective, this is maybe less of I'm not 100% sure of the motives is what I'm really trying to get at here. Why sell SOE and become Daybreak? Is it just like a name change thing, or are they trying to make themselves seem different than, maybe they're just trying to detach the Sony name? It's very confusing. And for someone who's been involved in PlanetSide and kind of sort of watched it hasn't been an entire downfall, the semi-downfall of the whole PlanetSide infrastructure of teams, this is just a little bit more confusion on the top. It's like the confusion cherry that tops it all off. So, little saddening overall. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I mean, there's a chance that this could be good, because maybe this is like a fresh start or something like that, but it's likely that it's not, but we'll see. I'm really skeptical about all this. That's pretty much the bottom line.
And just to add a little more detail here,
Yep.
The company was acquired by Columbus Nova, which is an investment management firm. They do stuff with entertainment media, but it definitely, I mean, Sony wants out of the MMO market is kind of what it looks like, right?
So
that's why the sale went through.
Is somebody taking their MMOs then?
I think they're going to be managing the company and probably trying to either push PlanetSide 2 to be better or to push another game, you know, to come out.
Yeah, and you know,
and make some money.
I'm just gonna flip over their website real quick. Okay, SOE Online is still up. I haven't actually looked at this. And I'm just curious because EverQuest Next is still in development, is it not? And there was a time when we were all pretty hyped for this, I think.
Well, that could be the game that piggybacks, you know, off of this new, you know, source of income, perhaps, for the company. I don't know if they're even going to get more, you know, funding, or if it's just going to be a change of owners, but.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like much has happened with that in quite a while, so it might be hard on the development cycle, or they have a beta going on it.
I mean, maybe they'll renovate, invigorate it some even, because, you know, if a company buys something, you know, you assume they want to make something out of it, right?
Yeah.
And you don't just buy something to lose money, so.
And they have H1Z1 right now, which is.
Oh yeah, H1Z1's there too.
Unfortunately, and I hate to say that, but I'm so tired of zombie games. It's just.
They haven't had a resurgence lately, oddly enough, in just pop culture, it feels like.
It's so weird that Daylight, or Dying Light, excuse me. Dying Light and H1Z1 came out so close together. Like, yeah, I mean, just, like, right together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
And you wonder how that happens, like.
H1Z1 is still in one of the top viewed, spots on Twitch and has been since it was released, so. Yeah, I don't know.
People are gonna like what they're gonna like, I guess. I don't know.
Sure, I'm just so done with zombie. I played DayZ enough to last myself an entire lifetime, and it burnt me out so hard. It is,
Well, talking about Dying Light, we're going to move over to the bulletin board. This is just a collection of other news and tips that we want to share with you guys. But Dying Light is going to be releasing official mod tools. This is a note from Techland, the studio that's developing the game. I think it was last week, on Steam, there was an update for Dying Light that basically said players not going to be allowed to modify game files anymore. Basically, you can't mod the game anymore. And some people were pretty upset about that. Not being in modding communities, especially for games like this, are, a really nice part of the community to have. And typically, especially in a single player setting, it's not as big of a deal. But despite that, the developer decided to make this change in both the multiplayer and the single player mode. Which, I think in multiplayer mode there's a fairness, because part of their reason was that they didn't want players to cheat. And in a multiplayer game, it's obvious how that can work. But in a single player game, it doesn't have as much effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's literally people who just want to take their passion of the game to the next level. Most of the time, that's what modding tools are. And I say that, but then there are some cheesy mods out there that really don't do anything for it. But really good things come out of mods, and it is rare that bad things come out of them. So it's a good idea to do that.
I think also, having a set of mod tools, really controls what's going into your game a little bit more. And
it's a good median.
Yeah, I think it's, good enough, people can still have their mods and stuff, but the game isn't getting, overrun with a bunch of shit that they may not want in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically they're going to be releasing their own official modding tools, and it seems like they're going to try to repair the relationship with the modding community. I know there's so many games you can mod for these days.
Yeah, they definitely sort of shot themselves in the foot there. They should have probably been a little more...
Yeah, they probably should have just, immediately had
forward.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd been we're taking that away, but mod tools. Or maybe they made the decision after.
I think they made it after. That's probably what happened.
They were like, holy crap, some people are really pissed off at us. Maybe we should have released mod tools.
And not to mention, a couple of people were DMCA'd and were given takedown notices for their mods, for the mods they were hosting. And then later the ESA came out and said that that was a mistake and that it was sent by a third-party vendor, just on mistake. But that's, I don't know, there's been a little bit of odd, small controversy here because, the modding community is really the people following this, but I do think it's important that mods, stay an integral part of especially these kind of first-person games.
Definitely those, Dying Light is definitely a kind of game that, mods can bring it to another level of replay value and things like that. Just like Skyrim and, other games like that.
Zombie Skyrim with guns.
Yeah.
And you just think about the games that are birthed by modding, right?
Oh, yeah. DayZ. The game this is probably existing because of was a mod.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what tools and, what these tools are and how people use them once they get their hands on them. So, one of the other things we have here is a note about the next Mass Effect game. So, basically the developer, BioWare, has confirmed that this game is going to have its own individual theme and basically a style that's going to set it apart from other BioWare titles. So I think they're going to have probably their own, maybe even engine for this game that's not going to be shared with the old games. So.
No, I think it could be interesting.
They're using Frostbite now, and apparently for the next Mass Effect, they're going to be using some new technology.
That's good because I'm ready for companies to get away from Frostbite. I've played a lot of Battlefield in the last few years, and Frostbite is a great engine for destruction. Everything else it is pretty meh in. And that's sort of unfortunate because Frostbite was sort of heralded as a miracle engine back when it was made. It was it can do anything, can go anywhere, it can be for any game. They even made a racing game based off of it. And, all of that is well and good, but it just didn't work out quite as well. So I'm hoping they move on from it a little bit. That'd be nice.
I'm sure this also means that there's not going to be any reason for players to have carryover data from the first trilogy.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but I think
that could be nice. It's like a fresh start for some people.
Yeah, I think it's for the best. I think if they were to include it, it would just set the wrong type of mood overall.
I think
too service oriented at that point.
I haven't finished Mass Effect still. Yeah, sorry, Randall. I still haven't finished Mass Effect 3 because I got frustrated with it, while I was playing it, stuff like that. So I still need to finish it, which, I mean, I'm sure I know exactly what happens, they save the day, blah, 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 whatever. It's best to start fresh after that because that was such a cluster back when that happened. That's one of the big controversies I remember from the last few years. Is a Mass Effect 3 ending. It's an absolute.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was.
So much.
I think that was
scared me away from finishing it.
And the knee-jerk reaction thing is just it's such a shame that, I mean, any type of coverage really does kind of create that. And in the world where, you can have that instant gratification of knowing something on, just even like a bulletin board like Reddit.
Yep. It was very difficult to dodge all the actual endings that Reddit was talking about. It was difficult. I did it, but it was difficult.
Alright, Lane, are you ready? I'm gonna spoil it now.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I hate you.
I wouldn't do that.
I will mute my mic.
Well, to wrap up the bulletin board, Nintendo has released a bunch of different Valentines on their website. If you're looking for a nice, nerdy, free, well, not free, but pretty cheap way to share Valentine with someone, you can print these out and power up with some paper.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got, let's see.
Yeah, no, they're pretty cool.
The usual crew.
Yeah, I mean, they're well done. I like them. I mean, nothing negative to
Nintendo
say.
being nice to people. Hey.
And moving over into the 9001 discussion.
Let's change up the tone a little bit.
Nintendo is back in the fire, I guess.
Yeah.
So
they did the not being nice to people segment of the world.
So going from helping you to find true love with Valentine's to bending you over and reaming you with some video channel registration bullshit.
Woo! Ooh,
Yeah,
I want to tell him.
Wilson has like a master's in getting reamed, so he's gonna really be pushing this one forward.
Yep. Well, I want to tell him. I want to do it.
Yeah, Lane, go ahead and fill us in on this.
Okay, so the big development in the past week is that they made a stipulation regarding video and channel registration. Videos, and I'll just read this small list off of their actual website. It says, videos. We are only able to register videos that contain game titles specified on the list of supported games. Very obvious. I mean, that's literally just saying we can only register the games that we told you we could register last week. Easy. The big one comes right after that, and it says channels. We are only able to register channels that contain game titles specified on the list of supported games. And that just kills off 90% of probably the people who are going to participate in this. Not 100% because obviously you can still have some videos in there without having a full registered channel, but there are going to probably be benefits to registering your entire channel that you won't get with videos. Not only that, but this is something I just thought of. We're probably going to see some of the major content creators of YouTube break off and make a freaking Nintendo channel to get this. It's probably going to happen.
Maybe even PewDiePie? Could we go that far to say that he'll turn his nose to what he has already said?
And that's going to be, well, okay. PewDiePie probably won't, but there might be a couple of YouTubers out there who could literally just make a Nintendo channel to do this. And the worst part is when you see that Nintendo channel, you're going to know, oh, hey, they're raking in the dough from Nintendo. At least, 20 cents of it. So, yeah, pretty bad.
And that means that also Super Smash Bros. Is not supported here.
I thought you said it was on the list.
No, I don't see it. It's not on the list.
Oh, I thought you just said a minute ago it was. You lied to me.
I said the other way. I think you heard what incorrectly.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not on there.
Kidding.
So it's not a supported game.
Okay.
Which means, so that means that it cannot even be, you cannot even stream it.
Yeah. No, you can't do anything with it and make money off of it.
Which is one of the, I mean, obviously, I think it's the most probably watched IP out of Nintendo, right?
Oh yeah, for definitely right now. It is.
I don't know. I don't understand why Nintendo's being so cutthroat in just like kind of the wrong way, in my opinion.
I think it's just an older business style. Like, I think like there are some people, obviously at this point we are speculating beyond our realm, but I don't know, I feel like it's an older business style, right?
Yeah, and I mean, but if
trying to adapt to.
I mean, you should look at the track records of other gaming companies, all right? How many game companies, restrict you in such a high level, right?
Yeah,
pretty much
they're
none.
definitely just trying to keep a little bit of control on this.
I mean, yeah.
It's interesting because we've had the YouTube crackdown, and we talked about this last week a little bit. This is literally just like YouTube crackdown, Nintendo.
This is an echo of that,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's a little more confusing.
It's way more confusing. It seems like they're trying to be nice, but in realistic land, they're actually being way too serious about it to ever get anyone to want to do it.
I mean, they're trying. It seems like they're trying to make themselves an exclusive product, almost. Like which they already are in a lot of ways, right? They have so many, games unique to them that are kind of defining for gaming as a whole. Good examples, Zelda and Mario, right? Everyone knows about these fucking games. Everyone's heard of these games.
Yeah.
And they're fully owned by Nintendo, right? So
Nintendo's inseparable from the video game medium.
Yeah, so, they're always going to be around, and they're just, I don't know, they're really honing in on that idea of just being exclusive. I don't know, it just upsets me because it kind of ruins the whole idea of, gaming in a lot of ways when like the whole business model is like games are fun, and when you act like this as a company, it doesn't reflect you very well.
Well, one of the things I would talk about from like a core design standpoint from Nintendo that I think that a lot of people are familiar with is that Nintendo feels like a lot of times that games are mostly a singular experience, right? Like the joy of playing a video game is your experience that you get from playing it. And I think that in a lot of ways, the kind of like streaming community and the idea of watching other people play doesn't exactly like align with what Nintendo's like design philosophies are.
Yeah, and there are still quite a few streams up for Smash Brothers, so it makes me wonder if, they've already tried to kill it off, or if there's a chance that Twitch could be immune from this, or it could be something where, they go through the, ID process after the videos and they get removed or totally muted, which is probably likely. So.
Yeah, I feel like the ban hammer is swiftly, coming.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Smash doesn't get taken off because I love watching Smash. Dude, there's a guy I actually love watching and I cannot remember his name. He's actually streaming. What is his name? It doesn't say. He's the second top streamer on it right now, and he's so much fun to watch. Dude, Smash is just a fun game to watch because people who play Smash seem to be like really nice people 90% of the time. You don't get people who play Nintendo products on Twitch that are like, League of Legends raging streamers or COD players. That's an entirely different demographic, and this is part of what Nintendo's done and what Nintendo has always been trying to do. But their demographic is literally the nicest demographic in all of the world, and I don't want that to go away. That sucks.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I feel like it's also kind of, Nintendo is doing their best to stay relevant and to not, kind of get washed away.
Yeah.
In the face of all this change, and in a way, they're kind of like creating this weird, I don't know, like cold sore on it all.
Yeah.
By being so resistant, and in an odd way too, right? Like it's like they're supporting all these games, at least in their new program, which is slightly understandable. But they still refuse to like allow Super Smash Bros., which is like 90% of the audience.
Yeah, so
it's like their biggest multiplayer. I mean, it's their only multiplayer game almost. Like,
yeah,
right.
Well,
it's the only one that makes sense to be viewed so much.
And looking forward, I really am worried about Splatoon. Splatoon is a game that I have been hyping up since E3. I think that this game is going to be another esport for Nintendo. I'm not kidding. I don't know how they're going to integrate it because you usually have to play on the gamepad to really have fun. But if that means everybody's going to buy 4 gamepads, I think they might do it because it's a really enjoyable game and it has this great competitive factor. And the beautiful part about it is that it's completely removed from aspects of like war or violence or even boobs. I mean, this is just squids putting paint on the ground, and it still has that hyper like energy competitive factor that League of Legends or Call of Duty has, in my opinion. Obviously with a little more cute involved, but
well, we know.
I feel like that's a game I feel like that game's probably not going to get supported either.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad because I think that's going to inhibit the growth of that game.
Here's something. I mean, you got to think that they're either going to change this or.
I think they're planning something.
Well,
hopefully
they have something in mind.
Yeah, I was thinking, how can they have any of this and have Splatoon be like not a failure? It's not necessarily going to be a failure because of that. They're obviously still going to have, some sort of success with it, but it would be a great experience to have a new popular game like that
And from
by a lot
Nintendo of all
people.
places.
Yeah, and from Nintendo. It's literally a competitive shooter from Nintendo. Are you kidding me?
I think they're gonna do their own service. I think that's really what Nintendo may be shaping up for.
Like
Maybe
a
it's like
YouTube of their own?
yeah, like their own YouTube service or their own like kind of like all-in-one streaming service.
Gosh.
And they would allow people to be partners. Like maybe that's their new gambit, and it could work, right? Like you could have it hook up with the Wii U, and there could be a lot of integration like that. It might be the way to do it for them.
Yeah.
You know, they're an up-down company. They do it all. They make the hardware, software, and they want to have as many, you know, controlling hands as they can on the experience.
I can definitely see that, but I really don't want that to happen. And that sucks because we need a real competitor to YouTube. Vimeo is out there, but I don't think it's, you know, fully a competitor. We need something to really compete with YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that, because nothing really does.
Right, Azubu's nice, but
yeah, but
that's really just for league stuff.
Uses it, yeah.
It's usually a lot nicer than Twitch, but
yeah, I've had good experiences with it. I know a lot of people downed it in the past, but I can never really figure out why, because it always worked perfectly for me.
Because you can't get that high quality trolling you get from Twitch.
Apparently.
So, anyway, this is gonna, I think, wrap up our conversation here. I think there are a lot of good ideas floating around, and it'll be interesting to follow Nintendo as they continue to handle this rocky road.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we close out the show, I did want to kind of share a quote from Monty Ohm, from a friend of mine on Facebook who was extremely inspired by Monty growing up. And this guy is actually a really crazy cool animator who does a lot of machinima and actually has a pretty good following of his own. But here's the quote. I believe that the human spirit is indomitable. If you endeavor to achieve, it will happen given enough resolve. It may not be immediate, and often your greater dream is something you will not achieve within your own lifetime. The effort you put forth to anything transcends yourself, for there is no futility even in death. So, I don't know, I just want to share that quote with you. I'm not really all about quotes, but I felt like it was a very pertinent quote. And,
yeah, it is.
It really says a lot about him.
It is almost morbidly pertinent. It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of haunting almost.
Yeah.
All right. At any rate, thanks for tuning in this week. Please feel free to shoot us any feedback about the show at 9001podcast@gmail.com. And you can find the podcast pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. Until next time, this has been the 9001 Podcast.
Yeah.
Bye. Randall, we switched places.
I know. I was trying to do it at the same time you did it, but I was waiting for it.
Screw you, I hate you.
Get your things. Boys, get your things.
I've got something, I don't know. Oh, I'm turning my phone on silent. Sorry.
Yeah, turn that off, dude, right now. Come on.
Oh.
Wow. It's not professional, bro. Okay, guys, I'm probably gonna have like a little heart attack if we don't get started.
You are
Anyone ever.
on edge as fuck, bro.
Well, it's because I've been drinking coffee lately.
You need to relax.
Be like me, dude.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, bro.
Yeah, well, I don't have to sleep, so trade off.
I don't. I mean, I sleep a little bit.
I sleep occasionally.
Well, I remembered it like after we had started the show, and I was like, I need to pull that up and have it ready.
Wilson.
Yeah?
I remember now.
I was the guardian of justice.
Embodiment.
Piccolo. Nail.
No.
Nail. I can sense you.